Silence on the line. I've always been afraid of the night and silence. Sometimes it feels like something is moving in the darkness, creeping around and watching you from the corners of your room. But a couple of years ago, I realized what's truly terrifying is what can reach out to you when you're all alone. That evening, I stayed up working late. It had been raining all day, and by night the windows were so soaked, it felt like water was seeping right through the glass. The monotonous sound made me oddly sleepy. At midnight, the clock chimed, and I realized I should have gone to bed hours ago. But just as I got up from my desk, the lights went out in the house. I was stuck in complete darkness. Only flashes of lightning outside illuminated the room with a cold, blue light for a split second. Suddenly, my phone vibrated in my pocket. An unknown number appeared on the screen. Probably a wrong call, I thought. But for some reason, my heart clenched and my skin prickled with goosebumps. I answered, trying to sound calm. Hello? There was silence on the other end. A thick silence, as if someone were deliberately holding their breath, listening to me. Who is this? I repeated. Only a faint crackling, a quiet, static hiss, then a series of short beeps. The call ended. I couldn't sleep all night. With no electricity, I couldn't check anything. And the phone battery died soon after that call. When the power came back in the morning, I discovered that the number didn't show up in my call log or call history. It was as if the call had never happened. The next day, it happened again. The same number, right at midnight. This time, I decided to record our conversation. I pressed accept and heard that same crackling, but now I could make out faint echoes of someone breathing. I asked, "Who are you? What do you want?" No answer. I could only hear barely discernible deep breaths and footsteps, like someone walking barefoot on a wet floor. Once again, the call broke off. When I played back the recording, a chill ran through me. At one moment on the record, you could clearly hear a dull thud and a creaking sound, like opening a rusty hinged door in an empty room. Then the hissing grew louder, as if it sensed another presence. But the scariest part, at some point, almost at the edge of hearing, came a voice eerily similar to mine. It was repeating, "Who are you? What do you want?" I leaned back in my chair, stunned. It sounded as though I wasn't the one receiving the call. Instead, I was on the other side of the line. On the third night, I decided not to answer. I lay in bed, setting my phone to vibrate so I wouldn't hear it. But at exactly midnight, it buzzed, short and sharp. I shrank under the covers, pretending I didn't hear. Yet the vibration continued. The phone rang louder and louder, as if someone were repeatedly dialing my number. I couldn't take it anymore. I jumped up and grabbed the phone. But this time, there was no number on the screen, only a black background and a flickering white call indicator. I answered and instantly regretted it. It wasn't just silence this time. I heard a weak, raspy whisper somewhere near me, like a ghost sneaking into my room, whispering right into my ear. I turned around, but there was no one. Only the darkness of my room, pale shadows, and somewhere far away, the faint sound of raindrops tapping on the roof. I asked, "What do you want?" A slightly louder breath came, and then my own voice answered, "I'm here." It really was my voice, same intonation, same trembling I was feeling at that exact moment. It sounded like I was talking to myself, but the voice on the line was distant, hostile. Then something clicked in the house again, and the lights went out once more. I was left in pitch darkness with that voice. My heart pounded so hard it drowned out everything else. And suddenly, the call cut off. But not before whispering, "I'm coming soon." It sounded like a promise. Paralyzed, I stood there, trying to make out the shapes of the furniture in the dark. The ringing had stopped, and that's when I felt it. The presence. Like someone was right behind me, reaching out with cold fingers. I turned around. Then my phone came to life again. It started playing the audio recording of footsteps and my own voice, rasping, "I'm here." The speaker hissed, the sound distorted. I could have sworn someone was standing right by the phone, breathing into the microphone. When the lights finally came back on, I realized several hours had passed, but it felt like only a few minutes. Dawn broke outside. The rain had stopped. Only a single watery footprint on the floor near the door, like a bare foot had stepped there, reminded me that everything that happened was real. Since then, every midnight, I get a call from the same blank number. Sometimes I hear doors creaking, footsteps in the hallway, or strange sounds like something heavy being dragged around. But most often, I hear silence, dark, unsettling silence. And always that slow, steady breathing. Sometimes it's so close that I wonder, maybe it's not in the phone. Maybe it's right behind me. Every night before midnight, I remind myself, don't answer. But as soon as the phone rings, something inside me freezes and my hand reaches for it automatically. One thought pounds in my head. It's here. It's back. And maybe it's not calling for me. It's calling for my fear.